Hello and welcome to our final wrap of all the action from the NAB AFL Under-18 Championships. Hi, I'm Jason Phelan from afl.com.au. I'm joined by Kevin Shifter Sheehan, the AFL National Talent Manager, Mick Ablett, the AFL Academy's Development Manager. Boys, lots to talk about. We've got the final round, we've got some champions, father-son prospects, mini drafts, all Australians. Let's get into it. Kevin, what did you think of the final round?
Well, I love the final round. In fact, Jace, I love the whole championship. So we've been going for 7 weeks now. Overall, 238 players have been presenting their best CV, if you like, in front of all 18 AFL clubs. So it's been a wonderful championship. There's been winners, losers, big movers in the draft even, and we look forward to sharing some of those thoughts with our viewers today. All right,
lots of games to get to. First, let's go to the first one, SA versus Vic Country out here at Etihad Stadium.
Yeah, fantastic to be out at this stadium in pristine conditions, to see guys able to mark the ball in the air, and it was Vic Country that got out of the blocks very, very well, and one bloke that really took stacks of marks was Tim Membry. He really started on fire up forward, and so the Vic Country side led by a couple of goals at quarter time. Other impressive players, Lewis Taylor just was that live wire was seen right throughout the championship. The small midfielder from Vic Country won plenty of the ball at the clearances. He set up quite a number of goals and was in great touch. But the SA side, they've had a great series of games. You'd expect them to come back, and come back they did. In the finish, SA got up. You'd expect that they probably would over the Vic Country that was super competitive. So it was SA by 13 points in what was a very entertaining game in which the AFL clubs will learn much about the prospects of some of the top liners for this year's draft.
And they, the SA boys, they gave themselves a chance at the overall title with that win. But Mick, the Vic Metro boys and WA, they had to take on in the last game, and that ultimately saw the champion decided.
Yeah, it certainly did, Jace. The Vic Metro boys had it all there for them. It was there for the taking, and looked like they were going to run away with it early. They jumped out to a pretty handy lead, 41-point leaders at half-time, so many thought the game was done and dusted, but the WA boys, they weren't going to lay down that easily. They came back, got to within 16 points at three-quarter time. It was a big third quarter for them, where they kicked 6 goals to really narrow that margin. In the end, Vic Metro prevailed by 24 points, which saw them take out the title. For the Vic Metro boys, Big Thomas Boyd again, 17-year-old kid, but we've spoken about him before, the number 31. He looked really good, did it at both ends this time, spent a little bit of time in defence as well as up forward. For the WA boys, it was Marco Paparone. Just really stood out, this kid. He's just a really nice size, ability to play both ends through the midfield. He finished with 19 possessions and a goal in a very hard-fought effort from him. Lane Wilkins was the other one that bobbed up. He's had a quiet kind of championships, but geez, he just showed what he's capable of here. 4 goals he finished with, 3 of them coming in the third quarter. A brilliant effort from Lane.
Thanks, Mick. And Shifter, we of course had the Lark Medal voting straight after that.
Yes, the Lark Medal in the finish won by Lockie Whitfield from Vic Country, who did vote yesterday in the final game from one of the selectors, but had some excellent games. He played as a lead-up medium forward for a start throughout the championship, and then pushed into the midfield, even inside the centre square. So his work, both his use of the football, his goal kicking, although down at Geelong he did have an off day, kicking 4 points, enhanced his CV basically as one of the leading contenders for this year's draft. So he's a great all-round player, a back-to-back would expect that he'd be a back-to-back All-Australian, having won the Lark Medal. So a wonderful series of games from him, and a very popular winner.
Certainly some quality on that leaderboard. Division 2 wrapped up down at Simmons Stadium. Northern Territory versus Tasmania was the first game.
Yes, and all to play for here. Tas had won both their games in the round for the second division, and NT had dropped a game in that, and they were determined to actually go out as the champions. They hadn't won the title in 8 years, and so this is a very, very spirited contest. In the finish, in what was a great game, the NT got over the line, so they got into the position where they could win the title. It was going to depend on whether Queensland could win the second game and by how much. But a very, very happy Northern Territory side at the end of a win that put them in as a contender to win that Division 2 title.
They certainly were, and Mick, but the door was still a little ajar for the Queenslanders if they could have a big, big win over the New South Wales ACT Rams.
New South Wales, they jumped out of the blocks. They actually looked like the Rams that we saw in round 1 when they played Vic Country up in Blacktown. Led by 3 points at half-time, the New South Wales boys, so a really good effort for them, much more spirited. They developed really well over the championships. However, unfortunately, couldn't find a goal in the second half, Jace. The Queensland boys, they put on 5 goals to run out 28-point winners.
So the Queensland boys got up, but not by enough. The NT boys celebrated a well-deserved win, their first since 2004.
Yeah, they were. They were packed in the other side on the race, watching very closely the NT boys. Unfortunately, slippery conditions, and like I say, Kane Tickner missing up forward there probably hurt the Scorpions a little bit, but look, fantastic result for the NT boys, and there was no shortage of celebrations there.
And Shifter, we had the awarding of the Harrison Medal for the best player in Division 2.
Yes, and that went to Jake Need, who had a wonderful series of 5 games. A very spirited 170-centimetre small midfielder, small forward. His run and carry was outstanding. He's a boy that comes from up around the Alice Springs area, but he's down at St Pat's in Ballarat, so he plays for North Ballarat Rebels in the TAC Cup. So he's a journeyman. He's been everywhere playing footy, and does he play with some great heart. He never falls over either. They whack him and crunch him, and he stays on his feet, and was an inspiration to the Northern Territory team in their great victory in Division 2.
Well, congratulations to Jake Need. Moving on, fellas, we've got some pretty decent father-sons this year. How do you see some of these prospects?
Well, it's going to be fascinating the way it unfolds, because there are 5 father-sons in potentially in this year's draft. A couple have nominated. The clubs have nominated them already, and that, of course, is Joe Danaher and Jack Viney. So a fascinating sideshow to what will be a great year for drafting great players into the AFL.
And another sidelight to the draft process this year for the last time, the GWS mini draft.
It'll be fascinating to see the way it unfolds, and would expect that there might be quite a number of nominations there, Mick.
Yeah, absolutely, Kev. Look, there was an abundance of 17-year-old talent on display throughout the championships. A number of those boys eligible, as we see up on the board. Fantastic opportunity for these boys. The last time we'll see this, I think, for a while. So, you know, clubs have got a bit to look forward to, and like Kev said, it's going to be some exciting times seeing what they're prepared to give up for this 17-year-old talent. Thanks,
Mick. And without further ado, boys, I guess we should jump into the All-Australians. Shifter?
Yes, the last line of defence, Sam Colquhoun, the South Australian defender, was magnificent right throughout. We also picked Matthew Scharenberg, the 189-centimetre South Australian as well. And the final last line guy is Luke McDonald, the left footer from Vic Metro, a very penetrating kick. I love his work one-on-one. He can also push up through the midfield. And Mick, you've got the other 3.
Yeah, Kev. The first one of the halfbacks, the inspirational skipper for WA, Jimmy Toumpas. The centre half-backs, the big man-child, Jesse Hogan. And the other guy, that's another skipper, Vic Metro's Nick Floston, 187-centimetre, hard-nosed defender there.
And the prime movers, the midfielders.
I'd love this centre line. James Aish on one wing, the youngest player selected at 16. He's 183-centimetre boy from Norwood, that famous Aish name. Right in the centre, well, Oliver Wines, the boy from Vic Country. Tough as they come, contested balls, his go. Also Lockie Whitfield, as we mentioned, the Lark medalist, the beautiful mover, wonderful user of the ball on right and left, with his hands as well as his feet. So he's a back-to-back All-Australian with the form that he showed. Mick, you've got the other 3.
Yep, Kev. Brodie Grundy comes in into the ruck there. Jonathan O'Rourke's another one from Vic Metro, another midfielder, 183 centimetres, Calder Cannons, Gisborne Rookies Football Club, and Nathan Rovert, his teammate. The little pocket dynamo for Vic Metro, another Northern Knights player.
And moving into the forwards.
Yes, and I think this group is going to hit the scoreboard at AFL level into the future. Jack Billings across half forward, the left footer from Vic Metro. We picked Taylor Garner, probably the biggest surprise overall in this championship. Come into it with some terrific form with the Dandenong Stingrays. And Jack Martin, the excitement machine from WA, the boy from up around Geraldton, was sensational in this championship. His run and carry, overhead marking, pressure goals were all super. X factor that he showed right throughout. And Mick, the other three guys.
Kev, Ben Kennedy, another small left footer from Glenelg. Geez, he was brilliant. Big Joe Danaher, geez, I don't think there's too many arguments there. He kicked 4 goals, 6 the other night. And the other small forward pocket, Matthew McDonough, kicked 2 bags of 6. This kid, fantastic.
And the bench.
Andrew Boston had a great series for Queensland. Their midfielder used the ball brilliantly, averaged close to 20 possessions. Dale Garlett from WA, the left footer that really can break the lines with his great run. He's kicked one of the goals of the championship as well and had a great series of games.
Jake Need, the Harrison medalist from Division 2. Kev's already spoken about him. He was as hard as nails. Jackson Thurlow's the other one. He was the guy that we said did the Gary Ablett impersonation out at Vizzy at one stage. He was fantastic.
And shift to the coaches.
Yes, we've gone for Brenton Toy from the Northern Territory. They won Division 2, but just the logistics in getting their side together. The boys are spread right throughout the country. He coached them extremely well. They had that wonderful win over Vic Metro to start the overall series and then to be the Division 2 title holders. A worthy winner of the All-Australian Coach nomination is Brenton Toy. And Rowan Welsh from Vic Metro, winners of Division 1. And again, they've played 39 players right throughout the 5 games. And Rowan's been a very successful coach at the underage level over the last number of years.
Well, some wonderful talent on display there, and having a look across that, I've had a bit of a look at the possible top 10. I might have dipped my hand with the first couple there, Whitfield and Toompas, but I'd be interested to get your thoughts, boys. Any shock omissions?
Well, you've put your 10 up there, Jason, you've stuck your neck out, and that's great. It starts about this time of the year, but we do know that things will change and people will improve. Some people actually will get better and better as the year goes on. They've played the Nationals, think that they can match it against the best, and then later in the year they'll rocket into top 10. There'll be others that jump in, but I think you've got a respectable group there in amongst them, but I'm not going to actually critique you because I'm going to wait until the final games are played. I'm going to wait till the draft combine and all the information's known before you get to fine-tuning the order. But that looks a pretty attractive group.
Well, thanks, boys, and thanks for all your help over the champs. It has been another action-packed National Carnival.
We've thoroughly enjoyed it, and we look forward to the Under-16 National Championships that start over the next couple of days.
You boys are right back into it. I'll take a breather.
No worries, Chase. Yeah, look, fantastic. Loved every minute of it. It's fantastic to see these kids just getting better and better. You get a lot of satisfaction out of it, and good luck to the boys for the remainder of the year.
And thank you for watching. We'll look forward to catching up with you come draft time.